Ron here with your forecast for the week of September 6th, 2021. It's the day of the new moon in Virgo. As I was saying last week, new moon in Virgo is a time when you assess what you have accomplished for the year and what still needs to be done in the year, right? So this is a kind of reset sort of point. It's always sometime in either late August or as late as mid-September. And it correlates with the back to school, back to work vibe that comes at the end of the holidays and things like that. It is Rosh Hashanah also. Not that it always would be Rosh Hashanah, but this year it is. So it's a sort of new year kind of feel as well. So often I say that we get out of the new moon quickly, right? We've had many instances of that this year. It happens fairly frequently that the slow time of the new moon doesn't match up with the very hot aspects that we have. We don't have that this time. This time we have a real, sort of a prototypical new moon to first quarter moon kind of feel to things. It is sort of a slow start. Now, on the other hand, this new moon is closely trine to Uranus in Taurus, right? This is, they're all at 14 degrees. They're all at, it's a minute away from a perfect trine. And if you want to know how much a minute of arc is, the sun and the moon each have about 30 minutes of arc in them, right? So one minute of arc is a pretty small slice of the pie. So this is directly trine to Uranus. Now that suggests, first of all, it suggests that we'll be looking for new and different solutions to things. We'll have an air of change. It's certainly not getting back to routine. It may be getting back to school and getting back to work, but it's not about getting back to routine. That's unlikely. It also, because it's a trine, it seeds the possibility of change. It opens us up to new ways of doing things. It doesn't force. It doesn't force. It could suggest something that you might develop later on. It could, Uranus is such an impatient planet, and this is a rather patient aspect. So I think that it sort of says, well, let's see if we can do things a little bit differently. Let's not just jump right back into routine. Let's see if we can make some shifts and changes that would be better. Doesn't force you to make any changes, though. Now, I would say that the time when we're most likely to kind of get, again, this, other than that, this is a fairly sleepy new moon. The moon waxes through Virgo Sunday into Monday when it goes into Libra, late on Monday, early Tuesday if you're in Europe. And it goes through Libra. It's got a square Pluto, but it does that every month. That's not something that's going to be, necessarily earth-shattering. And then it continues on Thursday. The moon goes into Scorpio, and here on Friday the moon goes into Scorpio, earliest Friday, unless you're on the west coast of the US. And so the moon goes through Scorpio. Here we're liable to get a little bit more of a, because the moon will go on to oppose Uranus, but it's still sextile to the sun at that point in time. It's a waxing moon, sextile to the sun. It's opposed by Uranus. That happens every month when the moon is in Scorpio. Well, every month since Uranus has been in Taurus. It gives a bit of a shock, a little bit of a change. The fixed signs of Taurus and Scorpio don't really dig that, Uranian shock. So it can kind of knock you out of your comfort zone a little bit, but it's still sextile to the sun. The moon is sextile to the sun, and really Uranus is still trine to the sun. And so it gives you maybe a need or an opportunity to apply doing things in a new way, to make some shifts and changes, to maybe have a sudden message delivered or something like that. But it doesn't, again, it's not, you know, it's certainly no crisis in and of itself. Some of us are no doubt going to spin crises all week long, right? But there's no astrological indicator that's gonna really knock us around too much. On Saturday, the moon continues to make relatively harmonious aspects as it makes its way through Scorpio. Saturday is the 20th anniversary of September 11th. I can only imagine that the scorpionic feeling is going to be rather strong. It's at least, you know, celestially appropriate to revisit, to have such a landmark occasion of such a grim event. And no doubt part of that will also be the kind of reflection that, wow, that was 20 years. And that's its own thing. And then on Sunday, the moon goes into Sagittarius, which, okay, so the idea is now that should be a more uplifting feeling, right? We have a waxing Sagittarius moon. It should be more uplifting. No doubt it will be in its way. The only thing is we're getting close to a Sun-Neptune opposition, which is for next week. But let's just say that the Sagittarius moon, it's going to eventually, not really until Monday next week, it's going to eventually square that Sun-Neptune opposition. So Sagittarius, you know, could be more fun, uplifting, you know, let's call it a bonus Sunday in the summer, since the summer, you know, not meteorologically or astrologically, ends on Labor Day, right? That's our typical, that's sort of the end of summer. And, you know, really, I mean, the technical point and the astrological point is on September 21st, but it doesn't feel that summery after Labor Day, after the first weekend in September. Maybe we get a little bit of a bonus that way. Maybe get a little bit of a bonus in terms of that. So that's a possibility. The other thing that was the other side of Sagittarius can be a little dogmatic sometimes, right? That's the Sagittarian energy. And, you know, as we process September 11th with the Scorpio moon, we're liable to come to some conclusions and, you know, broadcast them, let's say, as the moon goes through Sagittarius and the sun opposes Neptune. The sun opposite Neptune thing is it's a good discussion for next week. Okay, what else is happening? But just keep that in mind, that, you know, there could be a little bit of additional polemics. Things could get a little bit louder than they already are. Yeah. What else is happening this week? Well, if you're looking for relationship stuff, I think that a good conversation might be in place on Tuesday as Mercury sextiles partnership asteroid Juno. The Mercury is in Libra, where he's, you know, the sort of very looking at both sides of things, being diplomatic, kind of explaining the perspective. Juno is in Sagittarius, much more likely to have its own ideas about things, but there's definitely some potential for diplomacy in relationship as that aspect is hot. Also, the moon goes into Libra on Wednesday and will eventually meet up with Mercury later on Wednesday. That's another opportunity to kind of open things up in terms of discussion. So if you don't say it all on Tuesday, you can say some stuff on Wednesday as well. I feel that the basics of it are, and then the moon will go on to, I know I'm skipping around you. It doesn't cost you anything to watch these, right? So the moon will go on to meet Venus at 29 degrees of Libra, and that'll happen on Thursday, or really it's a Wednesday kind of aspect. So once again, the opportunity for discussion is good. The Juno aspect is really about partnership, right? This is really about romantic partnership. The Libra, Venus in Libra type of thing is a little bit more broad about relationship, business relationships, even relationships between client and, you know, people that have clients, you know, whether it's a merchant or whatever. So that bargaining, diplomacy type of thing, the Libra moon is going to trine Jupiter, meet with Venus. So that midweek, we could get some diplomacy going, especially, but not exclusively, in personal relationships. Then on Thursday, Venus goes into Scorpio. Venus goes to Scorpio for about 3-4 weeks every year. It's not, you know, it's not earth shattering to have Venus go into that sign, but there is a shift, you know, from that Libra formality in relationship, in relationship, in relating, in bargaining, right? Libra, Venus in Libra is, you know, formal dinners, you know, following through on protocol, minding your manners, being diplomatic. And then when Venus goes into Scorpio, we get a different kind of feel to things. And all of those things, all the way we relate and so on, becomes a little bit more protective, a little bit more reserved, a little bit more careful. And, you know, depends, good day and bad day, of course, you know, it can be reactive as well. Oh, you know, hopefully not, but there's a potential for that. For some folks, only, like, see, these things, the problematic stuff only really hits you if you've got a vulnerability going on. When you've got a vulnerability going on, then the astrological weather really, then it heads for your house. Otherwise, you know, I mean, you could maybe be a little bit more reserved or something like that. Certainly, though, other planets will continue to help. Now, with Venus in Libra, Scorpio, with Mercury still in Libra, with the sun still in Virgo. I mean, and then we have a lot of Capricorn. We still have Pluto in Capricorn. We have Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius. I mean, my overall sense of it is that there is, you know, it's a little bit less exciting, a little bit less raucous vibe than you might expect, than you might hope for. Sometimes you hope for a raucous vibe. Sometimes you want to get things going. It'll eventually, I mean, obviously things will catch on for folks at various times and so on, but, you know, kind of keep that in mind, that it is Sagittarius moon and all. It is a little bit more reserve, might be called for. Okay, that's what we have. A slow start to this lunar cycle that we could pretty much appreciate. Basically, I would say that Monday as a new moon day is really just chill. We don't even get to the new moon until fairly late in the day. If you're in Europe, it'll be actually be early Tuesday. Just chill Monday, take care of routine things, or don't do anything at all would be absolutely fine. It's fine with me if you don't do anything at all. And then waxing out, I mean, Tuesday, I mean, I wouldn't think much of most of Tuesday, maybe get some early stuff done. Wednesday, Thursday would be the time to maybe, you know, kind of start putting things in place. And then you're at the weekend again. Certainly, though, I mean, I would say that the the farther we get away from the new moon, the more active it becomes. And look for Friday into Saturday to have a little bit more of that Uranian pop. We'll talk about that next time. No, we'll talk about something else next time.